What is up, guys? What is up, guys? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right, what's up, guys? I'm out here in my little casita in Austin, drinking a little coffee. Been doing a lot of work lately. Just been like a fucking robot, and I'm working on AI, so I'm like a double robot. I'm like a robot building a robot. But anyways, I wanted to make this video because this is reality engineering part 1, episode 1. Reality engineering, okay, lesson 1 right here. So this is gonna be a series from beginning to end, how to create your own reality, how to not just create, engineer, okay? Engineer, all right? Put it together, put the pieces together, right? So you have an ideal outcome that you want, and you are engineering it, you're moving things around, and you're, tweaking things and sparking things and building things and soldering things and breaking things, and that's how you engineer, okay? That's how you engineer. Like I said, I have an engineering degree, so who better than to teach you how to engineer your reality than me? That rhymed. Y'all already know I'm the fucking MC. Okay, first step. Here's the issue, okay? This is the issue in this modern age. The issue with modern society, okay? Now, more than ever, we have a paradox of choice. We think that choice is good. We think that all of these paths, all of these ideas, all of these things that we can do, all of this information, all of these scientists, all of these coaches telling you what to do, it's supposedly a good thing, right? Is it? There's never been this much information in the world at our fingertips, okay? Literally ever. There's never been this much information in the world at our fingertips, at our disposal. So shouldn't we all just be fucking rich and millionaires and have everything figured out? If only it was that easy. If only it was that easy. Okay. Everywhere you go, Instagram, Twitter, the news, the doctors, everybody is telling you a different way that you should live your life. Their way, all right? Hey, you see my life? You see how I'm living it? You want to live my life? Do what I tell you to do. This is the way. This is the way, okay? And guess what? They're not lying. They found their own way up the mountain to the tippity top where they want to be, okay? And then they're saying, come on down my way. My way is the best way, all right? This is the way I live. This is the best way to live, all right? I do this. Look at me. Look at my results. This is what I did. You can't argue this. You can't argue my life. Look at my life. Look at the way I live. Look at what I have, and this is what I did, so this is what you should do too, right? And then you got somebody else that's up here, and they're like, no, no, no. Look what I did. You can't argue my life. Look at the way I look. Look how this is what I eat, and this is what's best, right? You can't argue this, okay? And guess what? They're both right. They're both right. That's the craziest thing. So the biggest problem in this world, and the first step to engineering your own reality, is to knowing how to decipher what's true and what's not true, and how to choose what it is that you want to do. No, how to choose what's best for you depending on what the life that you want to live. How to choose the best thing for you depending on the life that you want to live, and ultimately engineer and get to the reality that you want. This is step 1, okay? Because Let me tell you why this is step one, because if you don't know what you want and you're easily influenced by all these ideas and you're just trying different shit, okay? And you're like, oh, this guy says this is the best way, so I'm gonna follow that path. And then you're like, oh, but that guy says that is the best way, so I'm gonna follow that path, okay? And then you just keep like going all these different directions, right? You never find your own direction. So this is about finding your own direction, finding your own path, okay? And engineering your own reality. So here's the thing. Everybody's got opposing ideas, okay? And there's so many opposing ideas all over the place, and it's really important for you to know what's actually true, okay? So take, for example, the idea that people say in business, like, oh, you should have multiple income streams, right? Like you can't just have one income stream, because then if you lose one, then you end up broke, right? One income, like multiple income streams. That's like one extreme. The other extreme is, well, you can't focus on different things because the man who chases two rabbits catches none, right? So you try all these different things and then you end up getting nowhere, right? Well, those are two opposing ideas and they both have merit, right? They both have truth. There's good things about each one, right? So whenever there's two opposing ideas, right, then you need to figure out what is the best from one idea, what's the best from the other idea, and then how do you synthesize them together, okay? That's generally how you find the truth. It doesn't mean that it's somewhere in the middle, right? It's not necessarily the middle, but it's the synthesis of the two ideas. I took this from Tai Lopez, his 67 steps. The thing is called synthesis, thesis, and antithesis, thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, okay? So the idea is that when there's two opposing ideas, you take the best of each one and you synthesize them together. So in the example I just gave, right, well, the best thing to do, if you synthesize it together, the truth is usually somewhere, you know, in the middle, which is, okay, well, what if you focus on one revenue stream for a year and a half, until you get that up and running, right? So then where you can take yourself out of it and it still keeps going, and then you start focusing on a different revenue stream, okay? You get the best of both. You get the focus of doing one thing, and then you get the benefit of growing multiple revenue streams over time, right? One thing that I've been dealing with lately is saying yes and saying no, right? Because I am a very artistic adventure. I like to travel. As you guys have seen, I've traveled to different countries, traveled around the world. I haven't traveled everywhere I want to. Part of me still wants to be traveling, right? And saying yes to different things and opportunities, and just like going with the flow and letting my heart take me and stuff. And like, that's great. That's a great way to live, right? That's one extreme. The other extreme is to like say no to everything and just stay super locked in until you make money, right? Until you achieve what you want to achieve. And that's been like a battle for me. And lately I'm like, okay, well, if I use this thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, it's like, what's the best thing? It's like, well, there's seasons, right? So the past year and a half, I've just been following my heart and traveling and like doing whatever and saying yes to a lot of things. And now I'm in a season of saying no to things and just staying more focused, right? So that I can eventually get to where I want. So it comes in seasons, right? They're both good, but you can't do all always at the same time, right? So say no to things for a few months, get your money up, get things that you want to accomplish done, and then you can go back to saying yes, and then maybe be in a season of saying yes and kind of following your heart for a while around the world, you know what I mean? So that is one thing, right? Because then you're like, man, how should I be living? Like, people are saying to, you know, enjoy my 20s and to just fuck off and to, you know, worry about that later, you know, because you're only young once. Or then other people over here are telling me to, you know, lock myself in a room and grind in my 20s all day, every day, all day till I'm a fucking gazillionaire, right? There's truth to both of them, right? So taking the best, maybe there's some seasons here, you do a little bit of this, you do a little bit of that, right? And you focus on one thing before opening up to a different thing and yada yada, etc., etc., etc. Or like for me, I'm a little bit more locked in here, but if I want more connection and ability to go on little adventures and stuff, then maybe I need to move somewhere where that's easily accessible, like Colombia or wherever, like in South America, there's a little bit more of like a community. It's easier to meet people. So like maybe you want the best of both. So you position yourself, well, I'm going to be locked in here, but also it's easier to like kind of be connected in a community over here or wherever that place is for you, right? So try to find the best of both ideas, the best of both things, and synthesize them together. All right, that is step one. And this all goes back to knowing the life, knowing yourself, and knowing what you want, right? Because if somebody's telling you like, yo, this is the best business model to start in 2025, this is it, and somebody else is like, no, this is the best business model to start in 2025, right? So it's like, well, what the hell do you do? Well, it's like, what do you want to do, right? It's like, maybe there's a business model like real estate, right? It's like, oh, real estate's the best thing to get into. It's the best way to become a millionaire, the best way to make money. It's like, okay, you look at the life that they have, and maybe that's not what you want because you want to be able to have location freedom, right? And a lot of real estate agents and real estate people usually have to be in one place. Okay, or you want to start an online business and people are telling you to become a coach, to become an influencer, to make content, start a personal brand, but you're like, well, I don't want to do that, but I do want the best part of that, which is like the location freedom. So I'll start do a different online business, right? I'll become a writer or a copywriter, or I'll do this, or I'll start an AI agency. Like for me, I'm like, I want to have an online business, but I don't want to be working in it all the time. So I'm going to use AI, and I'm going to use AI automations and learn how to install these in businesses. And then I got AI doing the work for me. All right. Because eventually I want to have a business that is making money and that I don't have to be involved in as much. Okay. Because then I can just hire an operator to operate the whole AI stuff, teach somebody else how to do the stuff that I know. And then boom, I basically don't have to do anything. At first I got to do a lot of work, right? So that's where the seasons come in. So that's me thinking, what life do I want? I want location freedom. I want time freedom. I want to have a business that is funding my lifestyle, my creative projects. I want to make music. I want to have freedom to like just build things because I am an engineer. I'm a tinker. I like to build, okay? So I'm using that to my advantage, right? So the idea here is that you have a clear vision of where you want to go, right? For me, I want to have a business that I don't have to be working in all the time, like being a copywriter, right? Or like writing, like having like a agency like that where like I literally have to be doing the work and making sure everything's good, yada yada, and managing emails and all this stuff, right? That's why I kind of like didn't like the copywriting thing, but hey, I tried it and then I learned, right? So now I'm going into more of the AI stuff because it's super interesting, because ideally I want to have a business, an agency that I don't have to spend that much time in, so that I can do other things, right? Because I have all these other goals I want to accomplish. And that's the next point, is that you can't just take at face value the things that people are telling you that is the best thing to do, because you have to sit here and ask yourself, do they have the life that I want, right? Maybe they're right. Like if the life that you want is somewhere over here, and somebody's giving you advice from like in this general direction, then like, yeah, you should listen to them, right? And you should move in that direction. But then as you start going, then you start realizing like, oh, maybe they don't have the exact life that I want, but I like what they're saying about this, right? So I'm going to take the best thing, thesis, antithesis, synthesis. I'm going to take the best thing from what they're doing, right? But I also like what this guy's doing over here, right? So like, what is he doing over here? Like, I don't necessarily want his life, right? But I like what he's doing there. I like the way he's thinking about that, right? So take the best thing, right? And this is where you start putting shit together, because you're like, because I want to get over there. I know what I want. So I'm going to take a little bit of what he's doing, take a little bit of what they're doing, right? And then I'm going to synthesize it together, put my own little sauce on it, and I'm going to do my thing, right? This is when you start thinking for yourself and thinking like an engineer and thinking in first principles, okay? Because you don't have to do things that other people have done. If you see a path, you're like, well, I like what they're doing over there, so I'm gonna take that. And I like what they're doing over there, so I'm gonna take that. But if I want to get there, then if I just do this and if I just do that, then I'll get there, right? Because you're just like A, B equals C, right? You're thinking like an engineer. You don't have to go in the path that other people have already walked. You can create your own path by thinking in first principles, by not following conventional ideas, right? And by being okay with creating your own processes based on things that you've seen, things that you've learned, and then trying them out and having conviction in what you're doing, right? And like, oh, I'm gonna try this to see if it works, okay? So, I hope what I'm saying makes sense, okay? The thing is that like, there's so many opposing ideas, there's so many things over here, over there, telling you to do this, telling you that's the best model, telling you blah, blah, blah. You have to get clear about the life that you want, right? So write it down, right? Like, I'll share with you some of the stuff I wrote, or at least write down like what you want and why, right? So it's like, get really clear about the life that you want to live, and then maybe the first thing that you work on, like the first domino, isn't exactly that, right? But if you get one thing down, it's going to get you closer to living the life that you ultimately want to live. Like, we have a long time on earth, right? I mean, it's short, but it's also long. So if you can get the one thing down that's going to set you up to do all these other things that you want to do, then like just focus on that for a little bit, you know, for like a year and a half. Like, maybe the vehicle for you is to build a personal brand, and just focus on building a personal brand. That's gonna get you all these other things that you want, right? It's gonna get you better relationships, better friends, right? You're gonna attract the right people in your life. You could probably make money. So there's like, think about the life that you want, right? And then look at all these different things that people are doing, and then take the best of what they are doing and then synthesize it together to make your own path, right? To make your own synthesis of the best things based on the life that you want to live, okay? Does that make sense? So always question, always ask yourself, do they have the life that I want? Kind of, right? If somebody over here that doesn't have the life that you want at all is trying to tell you what to do not listen to them. Do not listen to them at all, okay? Somebody is, you know, nothing wrong with like working a 9 to 5 and like stuff, but if somebody's working 9 to 5 and all they do is, you know, drink with their buddies on the weekends and watch sports, and they're trying to tell you or inject things into you about how you should live your life, or about, you know, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, what's a good idea or not, don't fucking listen to that. Do not listen to that at all, okay? You're like, dude, you don't have the life, you're not even close to the life that I want, all right? Your thesis about living life is just completely wrong, right? Like, in your eyes, in your mind, right? For you, okay? Not wrong. People can do whatever the fuck they want, and that's totally fine, okay? That's another thing, is you should never try to convince anybody that your way is right. And I'm not trying to convince you that my way is right. My way is, I'm trying to teach you how to think, okay? How to think about how to come up with your own conclusions, with your own ways to find your own path, right? Like, I have slowly been able to start doing, okay? I'm still figuring this shit out all the time, all right? So, woo! I'm not an expert, okay? But these are the things that have helped me, especially recently, listening to Ty Lopez, and just like, and these past few months I've been thinking like this, like tuning out all the noise and just figuring out what it is that I want and kind of moving in my own direction, right? Like, I like what he's doing over there, I'm gonna take that. I like what he's doing over there, I'm gonna take that. And then I'm gonna do this, because this is like more what I want to do, right? It's like, this is taking me to where I want, right? Because that's a good idea, that's a good idea. But everything else about that sucks, you know, so I'm gonna leave that out and I'm gonna just do this. And because I wanna get there, and because I know the steps to get there, then I'm just gonna do those things, regardless if anybody says that this has been done before or not. Get what I'm saying? First principles. Use your brain. Engineer shit to get there. All right? To get there. Engineer to get there. Together. Oh. Okay. So I'm getting a little crazy, but regardless, this is step 1 to reality engineering. And comment down below. What are things that you like about certain ideas, right? Things Think of like one business model that somebody's told you to start or like to do, where you're like, that sounds cool, but I don't like XYZ about that, but I do like that, right? And think about a different one that somebody told you to start, and you're like, oh, that sounds interesting, but I don't like that, but I do like that, right? So grab the things that you like, and then take everything else away, and then create your own, synthesize it together like a scientist, right? So that is basically it. Comment down below, let me know your thoughts, and yeah, that's it. Part 2 coming soon. This is the first lesson for reality engineering, so make sure you subscribe to listen to the second one that's coming soon. All right, so peace, boom.